Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Swing Wing Sing is coming back at you today again with another new video, and today we have this big bugger, the Academy 172nd scale M23S surprising flogger B. Now, I'm really not sure why Academy calls it an M23S. Probably they did not get the licensing from MiG to call it a MiG-23S, but this is actually a MiG-23S, and today we are going to look at the MiG-23S Flogger B kit. Now, right off the bat, you see a beautiful box art of two MiG-23S interceptors flying in formation. Basically, it's a wingman formation. You see the front MiG-23 loaded up with the R3 and the R60 air-to-air missiles, and similarly the trailing MiG-23 is also loaded with the same kind of air-to-air loadout. Now, the MiG-23S was famous that it was the first Soviet fighter to get the beyond visual range missile in the form of the R3, and very interesting aircraft. The Soviets used this aircraft in a multitude of roles. The MiG-23 had a very interesting overall version development, starting right from its prototype, going right up to the final MiG-23 version, which was MiG-23 BMs, which also eventually became the prototype for the MiG-27s, which were to follow. So from a pure interceptor going on into a very potent ground attack aircraft in the form of a MiG-27. So very interesting history of this aircraft, but we're not here to talk about the history. We are here to talk about this kit. And so you see that pilot peeping right out through that canopy frame looking at you. Come on, it's time, open up the box. Okay, so that covers the front of the box. So let's look at the first longer edge. Again, it says MiG-23S Flogger B. It says the same thing here. Fully engraved panel lines and details. Various underwing stores included. Optional position of main wing, and we'll come to that shortly. You've then got, the plan views of the MiG-23. This is from a kind of rear-like angle. This is from the front-like angle, and this is from the lower end, and also a detail of the canopy out here. So that's the first longer edge. Let's look at the second longer edge. It has the plan view here. It says MiG-23 Flogger B here. About 10 languages, in which there is a warning message here. It says contains one unassembled model kit and easy to follow pictorial instructions. Paint and cement required to complete the model as pictures on box. Kit suitable for ages 14 to adult, scale 172. That's what it says in English, and there are other languages also in which I do believe that it's a similar thing mentioned here. So ages 14 and up, glue not included. The barcode here, so standard Academy packaging as we saw in my previous videos as well. Right, looking at the shorter edge, it says 172 scale MiG-23S Flogger B. It says #1 world-class product kit, and on the right it shows the Academy logo and kit number 12445. Looking at the other shorter edge, similar kind of details, kit number, the same box art, and it says MiG-23S Flogger B. Nothing on the back, so let's quickly go ahead and unbox the kit. All right, so here we are. Let's put that cover to the side. So first thing is this red warning chit. It says check with parts list before unsealing, replace and return, not guaranteed when plastic is unsealed. So that's the standard warning in mostly all Academy model kits. So let's put that to the side. Single plastic bag with all the parts, including the clear parts here. That's what I can see. And then you've got your decals we'll come to that. Then your standard basic instructions for beginners, what kind of tools to use, like nippers, tweezers, scissors, and of course followed by the process to place the decals on the model, cutting out the decals, dipping in warm water, applying the decals, and then cleaning with a cotton Q-tip, and then of course what kind of glue or cement you can use to construct this model. That's an interesting little leaflet there. And in fact, I do remember the first time I had built an Academy kit in 72nd. It was a MiG-23, but that was way back. It's been almost like a decade since I did that. And I did actually read these instructions. So it makes it very simple for a beginner to understand, that what are the tools the beginner would need to build such a model. Very interesting. And also the decal application guide, it's worth reading once if you're a beginner. So that goes to the side, and then of course the yellow warning sheet. The yellow warning sheet, it says, before starting to assemble, read the instructions, check the part numbers before starting to build, avoid danger of suffocation by never putting small parts in places where they shouldn't be. Keep away from children. Product may have some protruding parts for functional reasons. Take care when handling these. After cutting a part of the sprues, trim it cleanly to assemble and ensure proper disposal of waste material. Plastic bags packed with the product and parts should be disposed in an appropriate place immediately. Use modeling colors or cement, blah, blah, blah. Of course, those are all the instructions. And then finally, we've got the instruction sheet and then nothing else in the box. So let's begin with the instruction sheet. So it says M23S, which of course we are referring to it as MiG-23S Flogger B, former Soviet fighter, and then it says that it was developed in retaliation to the American F-111. Of course, the stories go both ways. The Russians say we built the MiG-23 first, and the Americans say we built the F-111 in retaliation to that, and vice versa. The Americans say we built the F-111 first, the Russians say we built the MiG-23 in retaliation to that. However, there's interesting, if you look at the dates and everything, yes, they're contemporaries, but not built specifically to counter each other. An F-111 would be like a conventional bomber. A MiG-23 is a high altitude interceptor. So of course, the roles are totally different between an F-111 and a MiG-23. Anyway, so just for the beginners to read and start off with something interesting, and then we move into the instruction sheet. So we start off with the assembly of the cockpit. Now I've built quite a few MiG-23s over the last decade or so, and it's a very simple kit to build, extremely easy, very rudimentary cockpit. Quickly you fix the cockpit floor inside with the seat, and then you close up the front section of the fuselage. Then you connect the wings together, close the rear half of the fuselage, place the pilot in. At this point, you can decide to place the pilot in or leave it out for later. It then moves into connecting the front fuselage half with the rear fuselage half, connecting the air intakes, the hard points, the undercarriage, the ventral fin, and then the weapons and the undercarriage gear bay doors. And then the final last leaflet shows you the painting and decal placement guide. Of course, when I build this kit, I will not be using these because I'm of course going to build an Indian Air Force MiG-23 with it. So we'll come to that when I start with the build video. Okay, then let's look at the decals. Nicely printed Academy decals here. And here we are. Very nicely printed. I've used these decals. My first build was a complete out-of-box MiG-23 build. That is when I used to brush paint, and I wasn't really very good at airbrushing at that time. I was still contemplating on whether to buy an airbrush or not, but that's where I started off my first 72nd scale build, which was an Academy MiG-23. So these decals were nice. They conform nicely as far as I remember. All of these decals were fun to put, and because they are very limited, the only grudge I had was with the instrument panel decal, and again we see the same decal here. No change in that whatsoever in the last decade. It's just, I mean, it's just there for the heck of it. So you can avoid it, you can print your own detailed decal if you want, but that's what you get for an instrument panel in this kit. All right, and let's bring out the sprues then. And let's quickly give this plastic bag a cut. All right, so there are the sprues. We've got the clear part first. Let's quickly look at the clear part, and I'll cut this open as well. Now the good thing is this canopy is not loose, so it's mounted on a sprue, so you can very easily, you know, bring it out of the plastic bag and have a look at it. So very nice looking canopy, quite clear, quite crisp. So it's got the front windshield, the canopy section, and it's got the landing lights. These two go under the air intakes. Again, here on the sprue it says M23. Very nice looking canopy. Masking this canopy is pretty easy. It's a good experience if you're trying masking for the first time, you know, masking these edges on the canopy, but it's fun. As far as I remember, it was really fun to mask this little canopy as well. So that's the first sprue, and we've got the R23 right there. We've got the air intakes. We've also got the R60. We've got the Gasha cannon here, the 23mm Gasha cannon. We've got the exhaust assembly, the nose assembly, front fuselage section, rear fuselage section. So all of these in the first sprue, and let me give you a look at the detail. Very nice, nicely detailed panel lines out there. You can see very crisp. You know, a wash brings out these details very nicely, especially in this area, you know, where you see these little vents out here. You know, putting a wash really details the kit very nicely. It's got very nicely detailed wheels as well, and of course the smaller sections like the pitot tubes, the secondary pitot tube, and the radio altimeter as well. So that covers the first sprue, and let me give you a look to drool over the sprue in its entirety. So that's the second sprue, and here we've got the vertical stabilizer, horizontal stabilizers, wings, the landing gear oleos, and then you've got the seat, the gear bay door covers, the landing gear flaps. You've also got a pilot figure here, as you can see. So that's the pilot figure there. Nice touch to this kit is that they include this pilot figure. Although my grudge with this is that he's sitting with both his hands on the side rather than one hand in the front holding the control stick. The MiG-23 has a control stick, a center mounted control stick. So technically his right hand should have been in the center. But anyway, that's what you can expect from a fairly cheap kit. Look at the almost like missing detail on the seat. It's just a frame of a seat there. You can detail it with some seat belts, but because I am thinking of making mine in the wheels up configuration, I wouldn't need to do that. But yes, I have done the detailing of this seat with a seat belt when I built my first MiG-23. All right, then moving on to the hard points. You've got the front and rear landing gear oleos. Now this is a very detailed landing gear assembly here. If you're assembling it in the wheels down configuration, these bring in a lot of good detail in the landing gear. We've then got the wings. Nice panel details on the wings there. You can see the flaps, the ailerons, everything nicely detailed. Good recessed panel lines out there. We've then got the ventral fin assembly here, and of course the horizontal stabilizers. Now, also wanted to mention the good part in this kit is that, these wings, they actually come with this interlocking gear mechanism. Now, I have not seen this mechanism in any other kit except the Academy one. Now, there's also a Hasegawa kit which has a similar gear interlocking mechanism, but I found that in the Hasegawa kit, the interlock is a little thinner than the overall thickness of the wing, and that actually makes the interlocking mechanism kind of misalign at times, and it feels a little wonky and loose. But in the Academy one, this interlock is just flawless. And of course, so if you move one wing forward, the other one moves along with it, which is a very, very good touch. I would recommend the Academy kit for anyone who wants to start building a MiG-23. Of course, if you're building the MF version, this is the kit to go with. The interlocking wing gear mechanism is a beautiful touch to it. This is not there even in the expensive MiG-23 kits. So I built an art model MiG-23 as well. I built a Co-Pro MiG-23 as well. You don't find this feature there. So this is a very, very nice touch in the Academy MiG-23. So onto the ScaleMate site for some more information on the M23S kit. So here's the box that I have just shown you, and if I scroll down to the timeline section, it shows that this kit was tooled in 2010. And if I look at the history of the timeline, the kit shows it to be originally tooled in 1983, and an insane number of new boxes and new decals and new why the hell knots have been introduced by Academy and Minicraft since 1983, with the primary tooling practically remaining the same. All right, so here we are. That was the rather quick unboxing and look at the Academy 1/72nd scale MiG-23. I will build this kit shortly. If you liked this unboxing, please give a thumbs up. Do consider subscribing to the channel. Hit that bell icon so that you get notifications whenever a new video comes in. I will now see you in the build video of this MiG-23. So till then, bye-bye, take care, keep modeling, have fun.